So, this is a small little gathering of thoughts. I've called it timeless wisdom. This is to do with financial management. Timeless wisdom, thoughts, ideas that have come over a period of time, sometimes by experience, sometimes by the experience of others. A lot of things that were skills that we studied, and a lot of things that we learned from the world with practical experiences. So, this is a summation of some of these thoughts. So one of the first things that happens in money management, financial matters, is basically about taking decisions, financial decisions. Now we could even expand this thing beyond financial decisions to talk about professional decisions, personal decisions, relationship decisions, and everything else in terms of decision. So what's that one important ingredient that's necessary to be around, to be present, so that your decision making is better, it's improved? That's ambience. you know we may never even think or give it a second thought. What are we talking about? Ambience, or what some people like to call as a vibe, or what some people like to talk in terms of an experience. A place where you're going to feel good, a situation that makes you feel happy. That's the ambience. So if your ambience is nice, neat, clean, beautiful, to your liking, it could be simple, but to your liking, then it makes a huge difference in the quality of financial decision that you take. And there's a little science to it around as well. So what happens is, the first thing that happens in a financial decision is that you want to have a calm mind, a peaceful state of existence, so that your decision that you take is appropriate, fulfilled, and comprehensive. So, the other thing that you want is that you want that space to have positive energy. It makes you feel good. It does not make you feel suffocated, troubled, anxious, and all of that. So, if you are in a situation or a place where you feel good, fresh air, positive energy coming into you, that's the other contributory factor, because those are positive ions of the environment which are coming and making a positive impact on you. A third thing that happens is the chaos that happens, the noise that is there around every decision that you make tends to tone down. It tends to dissipate over a period of time. Of course, it requires uh, a necessary exercising of this activity over a period of time, and then it, of course, sort of works in your favor. That clutter, once goes away out of your life, the decision and the quality of decisions become so much better. So that's the ambience, which makes a huge difference. What actually also flows out of ambience is a happy feeling. So when I'm about to do something, if it's financial especially, see, the risk level is very high. Risk not in terms of volatility or a stock market investment. I'm saying the risk, or I should use the word stake. The stake is very high because it's hard-earned money. It's wealth that you want to accumulate for the years. It's the investment that you're making today, and you're sacrificing something that you could have done, maybe a holiday, maybe a white good purchase or anything else. So the point is, if that decision goes wrong, the stakes are high, because then the money has been invested into it. It may not sort of grow. Even that's a loss, because in that sense there's an opportunity loss that is happening to you. It could have grown somewhere else. So the stake therefore is high. And because the stake is high, a decision that is good for you, very, very important, decision that is good for you, is something that is going to make you happy inside. And if you feel good, that you're happy inside, it's an investment by which you're going to win the world. It's an investment by which you are going to achieve your dreams and your aspirations and your goals. And if that's the happy feeling that you get inside you, then that's great. Now sometimes it may come by your own knowledge and learning, and sometimes a professional would have helped you arrive at that happy feeling. So if that feeling is there, do not undermine the power of that feeling. That feeling is all that there is. And so if you are happy inside, maybe the investment is good, maybe the financial plan is going to work out. See, once you make money, what happens then? So we make money, and we just don't want to accumulate it forever. See, money is like water. It's like water flowing in a river. If it moves, it gets replenished. If it doesn't move, it tends to stagnate over a period of time. It's a philosophical thought that either it grows or it stagnates. Now, what happens with money is that once you make the money, one should use it. If you don't use it, you're always going to feel, you know, deprived. You're always going to feel a little depressed. Over a period of time, these words become more and more complicated, and then ultimately they lead to uh, more and more psychosomatic and other issues as well. So the thing is, it's also very important that your mind gets the reward for the hard work that it has put in. So when you are in a situation where you made money, also use it. But now, caution, a word of caution here. We're talking about using the profit. So that means there is that much more importance to make an investment that is that much profitable. Because if an investment is good, if an investment is profitable, you're going to feel even better and super good about using that as that profit as a means to, again, do something that you really are happy about and you desire, or also it could be fulfilling a need or a goal. So making money is one thing, it's easy, but we must learn how to use that money. Maybe children, grandchildren will have the money, that's not a problem, but you will see these experiences around you all the time. If somebody has used money, the time when that person goes, everybody says that it was a life well lived. And to a large extent, that life well lived is also in some sense equal to things that you wanted to do, you were able to do. Needs, goals, aspiration, dreams, luxuries, whatever it is, money is something that is a means to buy something in this world itself. It's not going to go with you. So why not, also use it a little bit? Uh, Automatically, when we talk about making money, we have to talk about the rules about making money, right? So all investments are different. If you're making a fixed deposit, it's a very, very simple, straightforward investment. You make the investment, you're going to get X% of return for a certain number of months or years, whatever you have chosen. And if you try and do a premature redemption of that investment or closure of that investment, obviously you're going to lose something, right? You're not going to get what was promised. But this was also told to you in advance, that if you make a premature or a predated redemption, withdrawal, closure, you will lose something. So you have to learn the rules. But these are simple things. Now there are more complex investments. Complex investments like ETFs, mutual funds, stocks, portfolio management schemes, bonds, more like alternate investments. Every investment has some different rules. As long as you have a broad understanding, I'm not talking about where you have to become an expert. I'm talking about a good broad understanding. If you have a good broad understanding of what you've done, how it's going to work, what's a good time frame that you must be patient and for which you must keep your investment going, what's a good time to get out of that investment, what would be a profitable time from a pure profit point of view as well as a tax point of view. So obviously it also indicates that you need to work with somebody professionally who's into this, who can sort of help you arrive at these points and help you in taking your decisions. Talking about experts, right? It's always a very good idea to engage experts. I, as a wealth as a wealth and investment uh, facilitator, I also personally, for my own money, have a lot of people who are managing it. I don't manage everything myself. So DIY is a good idea if you are already trained and skilled in this space. But otherwise, it's a terrible idea. You see, everybody is doing a certain role in this world. You could be an architect, you could be a plumber, you could be a carpenter, you could be um, a surveyor, you could be a pilot, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be just about so many professions, and you could be into one of those professions. So you don't have to learn money. Why is it that everybody has this very, very deep gray innate need that I must manage money? It also comes out of the fact that you don't trust anybody. Now that's a really bad idea, and for that there is a different kind of counseling that is really required. But the thing is, one expert could go wrong, two could go wrong, but if you have 10, if you have 12, For example, if you have five mutual funds, why do it in the same mutual fund company? If you have five different teams managing your money, there is at least 5 into 5, 25 different experts there, right? I mean, of course, I mean, I've exaggerated there, but there is at least five different teams or five different set of fund managers or experts who are taking care of your hard earned money. So, in that sense, why not actually work with a handful of people so that you get the best of all worlds? But then don't start asking one person's asking the sanctity of one person's recommendation to another, and the second one's to a third one, because they will very quickly figure it out. And because they are professionals, they are doing that. So try not to do that, but have faith. Have a little bit of faith in the professional capability of people who are going to manage your money. Always engage experts. I mean, it's the best thing to do. Do you for example, do interiors yourself? If you had to, like, do up your house or your office, do you sort of go to the market, buy a piece of wood, take the saw, start cutting it? You don't do all that, right? I mean, why? You could do it. I mean, in other parts of the world, people paint their houses on their own. People do small plumbing and carpentry work themselves. But, well, if it's possible, if it's feasible, and at least in the financial world, you should always uh, never undermine the power that experts and professional guidance can bring in your financial journey for yourself and for your family. So, very, very important. Now, at the same time, while you are engaging with someone professionally, I would also sort of give a lot of weightage to you taking your own time. You don't have to rush. There is never something which is time bound, or this opportunity is going to expire in the next 24 hours. There's never anything like that. Take your time. Never invest in a hasty environment. Never be under pressure or compelled that I have to do this like now. I have to complete this activity or this investment. No, there's never a rush. We are not in that situation. More than that, if you actually don't understand something, um, try and learn a little bit about it. You don't, like I said, you don't have to become an expert in that, but you have to broadly understand the concept. Wait, what is exactly happening? How is somebody going to manage this money? What is somebody actually going to do? How are you going to get your returns? What's the liquidity? Can you at will come out of this investment, or is there a stipulated period within which you have to be locked and parked inside? These are some basic things that you need to understand. And like I mentioned a while ago, rules are different. So, what kind of investment that you're doing, what's going to happen with that investment? Is it that that investment is going to be steady and giving you a linear return on a day-to-day basis or a month-on-month basis? Or is it that the returns could be sporadic, completely unpredictable? Certainly for about 2 years, no returns, and then for example, in about 6 months it could just double. Things like that are possible because there are so many investment options, right? Investment options, vehicles, everything. But, well, let's go middle of the path. There are investments which gradually move up, or with time, which gradually grow. Sometimes they become a little slow in terms of your growth, so shouldn't worry about that. And sometimes they move at a much faster pace. But on an average, what's the kind of return that you can expect? I mean, these are kind of questions that you may want to sort of ask when you are seeking professional guidance or when you're doing your own research, right? So learn what you don't know, especially about money. It's a very important thing that everybody should know. It's everybody's business because innately everybody feels I need to take care of my money. So, well, don't go, the entire whole hog, because you probably need a professional degree to do that. But otherwise, at least you can do a fair bit, learn the basic contours of how it will work, and learn how your decisions, good or bad, might impact your investments, and what are especially the bad ones. So do that. Now, one of the things that happens all the time is people are always confused about how much to invest, right? So, well, there is no direct or a straightforward answer to that, but there's an age-old wisdom which says that you must try and pay yourself first. So whatever you earn, whatever 100 units of whichever currency you're earning, it might be a very good idea to at least put away 30% of that. That 30% is magical. I mean, if you're able to do that 30%, if you earn 100 and you put away 30, that 30 is going to compound and grow over a period of time, and you're doing this month after month, year after year, is magical. You'll be surprised how fast, how better financially you are placed versus your contemporaries, maybe 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the line. So it's a habit, and if you form this habit, it tends to yield fantastic uh, rewards for you for your financial journey. So first off, put 30% aside. All right. The next thing is, you have about 40% money, which you will broadly, most people will need about 40 odd percent, 40, maybe 50% for their living expenditure and whatever you may have to do. The thing is, then you're left with another 25, 30%. So I would say 25%, 30% maximum should be towards EMIs. If you have to buy a house or if you must buy a car, it's a personal choice. And the amount of money you should be spending on a monthly basis for that particular item that you've gone and bought for yourself. So broadly speaking, like, a very simple rule of thumb: invest a third, spend a third, and a third can go into your loans. Now, very important thing from here is to try and give about 5%. Try and make a little bit of a 5%, maybe 2%, whatever is your comfort level. Maybe allocate that 3% or 5% to give away. There are people who are around you who are going to need money, and I'm talking about the ones who genuinely need. Okay, it could be a charitable organization, could be a NGO working in your local geography, it could be whoever, who you think needs money, could be people who are in your employ. So try and keep about 5% money for that, because it's actually quite a good treatment that you give your money. You see, again, an age-old wisdom that was, what goes around comes around. So if you sort of, let this 5% move, maybe a lot more will come back to you in a different way, which you probably cannot at the moment imagine. But again, if you get into this practice, A, it's a good idea. B, it makes you feel very nice because you've done something nice, you've helped somebody. And third, and the most important thing is, it will also give you the reward. But having said that, word of caution again, don't do it from the intention of getting the reward, right? I mean, we've learned this in our culture and our scriptures, right? You do your karma, and don't worry about the rewards. They will come when they have to come, in the form and manner in which they have to come. So the important thing is what we do from our side as an individual. Think about 5%. Yeah. So talking about distributing money, giving out, and doing all of that, then the next question comes is in terms of something that has worked forever. Okay, it's not like a short-term thing. It's not like a thing that worked in the early 90s or the late 90s or the early 2000 or the 2025. It's timeless, and that's the whole idea of this little gathering of thoughts. What's a good investment? People always ask, yeah, I mean, can I get a better return than this? Can I get a better return than that? A very simple yardstick to, again, measure the merit of an investment is to understand the inflation rate. Very simple. Just Google it and you'll get the inflation rate in your country. In India, is about 5 to 6% is what we assume to be the inflation rate. So whatever is your inflation rate plus 5% or maybe 6%. But if you have a very general rule of thumb, inflation plus maybe 5 or 6%. And if you can do that kind of an investment, that's an extremely profitable investment to do, because A, you will never run out of money. B, you will always have investments that will beat inflation hands down. And C, that investment that you've made, that extra 6% or 5% that you're earning is also going to compound. So you are very comfortably managing inflation. You're keeping inflation at bay. It's not going to bother you. It's not going to affect you ever. And on top of that, you're actually earning a lot more. So if you're in India, well, maybe a good yardstick is 6% inflation plus 6% returns, which is about 12%. So one must try and identify an investment that does that for you. Now, what obviously happens as a result of that is that in a situation in a country where the fixed deposit rate itself is about 6%, you're not going to get too many options there. But that's where again professional guidance comes in. So you have a mix of various products, various investment instruments, where the professional makes a little portfolio for you. So you have a little bit of everything. You see, a little bit of everything meaning a little bit of something which is going to earn you 6%, something that's going to earn you 9%, something that will earn you 12%, something that will earn you 15% or an 18%. So when you have an aggregate of this whole thing, the professional will tell you that you can expect on your whole portfolio to earn about 12%, which is basically 6% inflation plus 6% growth. So wherever you're located, inflation plus the growth, that's your minimum benchmark that one should be looking at, right? So if you do that, you're broadly okay. Now, you see, when we are making investments, there are two other things that happen, and which are these two, like, I don't even mind calling them like enemies of your investment. They wreak havoc. Okay, they completely mess up everything that you have. And these two factors are actually emotional. And these factors are basically fear and greed. Now, they can play on your mind in such a manner that it almost kind of stunts your thinking. You will not be able to think straight. So one is fear, right? So what happens with fear is that what if I make this investment? What if I lose all the money? What if I make this investment and what if the person runs away? What if I make this investment and whatever was promised is not there? Or what if I make this investment and where is it written down? See, it all kind of rolls back into uh, some parts are in ignorance, some parts are in information, some parts are in professional guidance. So if you have these three things, everything just works out on your own. So which is why again, you connect that to the DIY philosophy. The DIY philosophy, it is what makes you fear the most. I mean, think of a situation like this. You're in a you're sailing in the sea or in a big cruise liner or something, and you fall off into the sea, and then you can't see the cruise liner. What's going to happen? The panic and the fear that you're going to have is going to be enormous because you can't see anybody around. That's what happens when you don't have professional guidance and anybody to just pick up the phone and call and ask. So don't do that. Your best friend or your brother or your sister or your trusted friend or your trusted investment expert may not have those answers. So which is why it's always good to have 4 or 5 people handy. You see, what happens is when investments actually go bad, and I've seen this not once, not twice, but over the decades, I've seen this repeatedly happening again and again. You make an investment without understanding, and or with shallow understanding again, and even if it's with a professional, what happens is, if you are going to take the decision, if you are going to drive it, very often it turns out to be a bad decision. Ultimately, you won't know that now, but I have seen this a number of times. When the panic sets in, when the fear and anxiety set in, you see that fear peaks at the point where the investment is at the lowest. Let me repeat it. The fear that we have in our minds is the highest when that investment is probably at its lowest point. So if we were to overcome that fear with some guidance and not make the mistake, then that investment would really come back and recuperate. Doesn't happen in all the investments because it also depends on the merit of the investment. But very often, if it's a good investment and with good professional help, and when you decide to do it yourself, fear is the highest when the investment is the lowest. Tell yourself that well, I'm most fearful at this time. Maybe let me just hang in. If I just hang in for a little longer, and if I have 3 people who've told me just hang in, relax, the question to understand is that investment that you did, was it a temporarily bad investment, or it's temporarily the performance is bad, or is it that it was permanently a bad investment, or it was a bad investment to begin with? If it was a bad investment, if it was the latter, it's very simple. If it was a bad investment decision right from the word go, then that investment must go. I mean, then you rather lose a finger versus losing a hand, that sort of a thing. So let that go. But if it's a temporarily bad performance or a temporarily bad investment, then just hang in. And then if you have help around that time, it's going to be greatly rewarding for you to, navigate through that period of fear. Let's come to greed. Uh, in the financial world, greed is something that makes you feel that, oh my God, I've just missed the bus, or oh my God, this was like such a fantastic time. Oh, I wish I had done this at this time. Oh, I wish I had listened to you. Oh, now it's, out of my hand. Now it's out of my reach, and this story is over. It's never that way. In the financial world, there is nothing like, this story is over, this option is over. There are umpteen options. There are enormous choices. If today an investment has gone out of your reach, tomorrow that will again come back in your reach. If something has gone up, it will come down again. You may get an opportunity again. You may not get the identical opportunity. If there is something at 100 goes up to 140, you may not get it back at 100, but you will still get it at 120, which is better than getting it at 140. If it's a good investment, maybe consider doing it. So, or if it was a good investment, deposit investment that's can come today, and if you lose it, doesn't matter, somebody else will come. If not that, a similar kind of investment will come, but it will come. It's never lost. It's never that this opportunity is gone forever. So therefore, again, connecting back to making a hasty decision, don't have to. If you don't understand it, doesn't matter. Take your time. It's not going to get over. Even if somebody tells you this is the last day for this investment, it's okay. If this is gone, there are going to be thousands of other investment that are going to come by the way. So you are never, never, ever at any loss of ideas. There is always opportunity. Opportunities always exist in one form or the other, in one market or another, in one category or another, in one type of investment or another. There is always some sort of a cycle moving forward and backward. And again, I'm connecting this back to the professional guidance. So if you have people, if you have research that is happening for you, that you can even subscribe to it. There is so much happening today in the online world. You could pay a small subscription and get you information. But as long as you are in sync with it, great. If you want to completely outsource it to a group of professionals, probably even better. But at the same time, don't have to turn a blind eye. You need to know the basics, right? So if you sort of just put all these little things together, perhaps your financial journey might be a lot more smoother than what it has been already for the last so many years that you've either done it yourself or you've done it, with the counsel of somebody who's not an exact professional. But the journey can become so much more smoother, so much more efficient, so much more faster, so much more rewarding if actually you just sort of made a few notes. And I made my notes and I put these 12, 13 concepts in front of you, which I felt was something that I have learned, something that I have experienced, and through my own experiences and through the experiences of the others that I have worked with. We'll also probably do something more, come with the second edition of this. But for now, I think these are some things that I would even want to leave, back for my children at some point of time. If they wanted financial advice, they could also come back and, listen to this. So I do it for them. I do it for you. I do it for, everybody who could make a little better use of the resources and the information that we all have around us. And with this information, if we can make our journey more rewarding, that would be the best, the best gift that I would have got. So thank you, and see you again.